In the media, there were journalists, TV anchors, reporters who said that Qadri was a national hero and that my father was a blasphemer. And and all of this aftermath, it brought a rather frightening reality home, which was that what we were dealing with is not just a man or an organization. It's a mindset, and this kind of poisonous mindset and environment is created and allowed to flourish when you have an Islamic constitution that is in this archaic business of legislating your morality, and when you have laws like the blasphemy laws intact. Anyone can point fingers at anyone, accusing them of anything, and killers become heroes, and the few like my father and Shahbaz Bhatti who try to stand up for the voiceless and the persecuted are gunned down and silenced, which of course serves as a future warning to anyone else who dares to criticize the religion or to criticize the laws. But these laws are very deserving of criticism. These laws promote an atmosphere of intolerance and fear, where government is allowed to restrict the freedom of expression, thought, and belief. They allow the power-hungry to capitalize on the loopholes in the language, and they have a devastating result on anyone who may differ from the majority religion. In a country whose get-out-of-jail-free card is that we call ourselves a democracy, the frontiers of free expression have shrunk drastically. Dissent and debate is stifled. Rivals are harassed, and the use of murder and violence is legitimized because it's done under this warped piety. It's done in the name of God. These laws were put into place to protect our religion, but blasphemy is not a protector of religious freedom. It is its mortal enemy. Since 1986, the years that this law was put into place, over 500 Muslims, 350 Ahmadis, 120 Christians, 14 Hindus and 10 others have been charged under the laws in Pakistan. 32 accused and 2 Muslim judges have been mowed down by Islamist vigilantes. Since January 4th, the day that my father was assassinated, there have been 32 known cases in which 67 people have been affected. And just a few days ago, another man was sentenced to death for committing blasphemy. The stories are just, they're chilling. One of the charges was against a 17-year-old boy who had allegedly blasphemed on a physics exam. For something, this boy is younger than all of us in this room, and for something that he may or may not have said or done, he will now spend the rest of his life behind bars. Another charge was against a mentally handicapped man who had apparently thrown away a business card which said the name Muhammad on it. So the finality of the punishment does not always match the senselessness with which these accusations are made. Another man a couple of weeks ago was accused of being a blasphemer because he's an Ahmadi Muslim and he prayed in his office during lunchtime. Ahmadi Muslims, as most of you know, were declared heretics by the state in the 70s, and our constitution forbids them from calling themselves Muslims or from calling their places of worship mosques. Over 100 Ahmadis were killed during their Friday prayer last year in May when a member of the Taliban snuck in and opened indiscriminate fire. As Pakistan always does, everybody fell silent, but my father was the only government official who went to the mosque, who condoled with the families, and who condemned this act. When the floods ravaged Pakistan in August, the Ahmadis were denied aid because they are not Muslims. And once again, all of this is done in the name of God. And it shows that the biggest danger faced by Islam these days is coming from those who are claiming to serve it. In March, as you had mentioned, Minister of Minorities Shahbaz Bhatti was gunned down by unknown assailants outside his mother's home. He had taken a similar stand on the blasphemy laws. He had spoken about the misuse, and he had condemned my father's murder. For this, he was gunned down. Javed Ghamdi, who is a renowned Islamic scholar, has had to flee to Malaysia because of his assertions that there is no justification for blasphemy in our Holy Quran. And Shehrbano, who's a brave parliamentarian, she had tabled a bill in the National Assembly after this Asir Noreen case trying to water down the blasphemy laws. She's a virtual prisoner in her home, and our Prime Minister has asked her to leave the country because he cannot assure her safety or protection. I make no special claim of bravery, but I was warned by the militant Sunni Tehreek group to stay silent after my father's death. She should remember the fate of her father and refrain from making such statements, they warned me.